if there's nothing else that you can understand about reading that passage, if there's nothing else that you can comprehend, I hope that everyone can hear or comprehend the pain that Job is going through. Next slide, brother. And I hate to give you a little bit of, let Tony be a prophet today. Amen. I hate to tell you this. But turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, by the end of the sermon, we will have some good news. Amen. But before we get to the end of the sermon, we got to point out, it's almost like problem, cause, solution. Amen. And so I have to point out a problem to you. And here's something you got to truly understand. Pain is coming your way. I hate to tell you that. Amen. But the only way that there's an exception is if you die very quickly. Amen. That's the only way that you are not going to have pain that's coming into your life. Amen. But pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Amen. And here's what we're going to unwalk, and we're going to walk that out. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Pain is coming. Pain is as inevitable as time and change. I can guarantee you're going to have time. I can guarantee you're going to have change. And I can guarantee you're going to have pain. But how you manage time, change, and pain will determine your success in life. How you manage your time, now here's the thing. You're going to have time. Time's going to tick away on you regardless. You know, people say, oh, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to do this. I don't have enough time to do that. There's a chart I posted on Facebook that after you commute, after you go to work, after you do all of those other things, you got 37 hours. Amen? Just a lot of people don't spend those 37 hours very wisely. Amen? You have what we call, this is why I love America. In America, now in China you ain't got it. Okay? In certain parts of Africa, you don't have it because you got to walk so long just to get some water. All right? But at least in America, you have this thing called discretionary time. So you got 37 hours to chase what God has put before you. Amen? You have time. And then here's the thing. Like I always like to quote the old prophet Mike Tyson. Everybody got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. So then you also, time is I promise you got time. But then also, when you have time, you're going to also have change. And how well you respond to change will determine your success. How long you spend in a pity party about whatever change. Because here's the thing. Change is going to come. Things are going to happen. Everything ain't going to unfold exactly the way you envisioned it. And when that happens, the choice is how are you going to respond to that change? What are you going to do with it? And part of that change is pain. Can y'all say pain? Amen. Amen. So what I'm trying to share with you is how well you handle pain, how well you handle your time, and how well you handle change will determine your life's success. Job 14:1 says, man that is born of a woman is of a few days and full of trouble. Ecclesiastes 2:23 says, for all of his days are sorrows, and his travail grief, yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity. Next slide, Brother Bishop. But see, one thing we got to all step back is what controls our destiny is a lot of times our attitude. Our attitude it's your attitude, not your aptitude, that determines your altitude. And a lot of times when those changes happen and the pain happens, you got a choice of what kind of attitude that you're going to have. See, doctrinally and theologically, it's really important for everyone to know the third we're covering the Holy Scriptures on Wednesday. But a lot of folks, the third doctrinal point, the Holy Scriptures are the first one. But the third doctrinal point is the fall of man. We're all sinners. We all are falling short. So when the Bible starts talking about Job as perfect, the other translations basically call him blameless. All right? So he's not understanding theology. Job was perfect. He was as perfect as a chair. You know, you could say this chair is perfect, but until I sit my big behind in it and test it, you don't know how perfect it is. It just looks perfect. See, there's a lot of things that look perfect until they're tested. Amen? So theologically, Job was not perfect. What they were speaking of was his condition in the moment, how he appeared, how he walked, how he talked, how he dealt with things. But, you know, it's kind of easy to be perfect when everything is going your way. It's easy to go and be, oh, yeah, I'm going to do this and do that when everything falls your way. But the greater test is when the change and the pain comes. How will you serve God?
Amen.
How will you serve God then? Everyone, when you got everything going your way, can go and say, oh, I love you, Lord, then. Of course you love him. He's the one in control of everything. And look at all that he gave you. But when stuff goes sideways, when life punches you in the mouth, will you still serve him? Job was righteous externally. He was righteous in his actions, but God knew his heart. Job needed an attitude adjustment. And when all the pain and all the drama starts coming out, you can begin to see it come out of Job. All you got to do is highlight it and say how many times he says, I did, but I have never, but I have never, but I. And then you can see the same thing is true when you're dealing with a spiritually mature person. Amen? When someone is spiritually immature, they're like, okay, Lord, I know this about you. What do you want me to learn? Lord, you know, this is for your glory. But a spiritually immature person says, I don't understand this. Why is this happening to me? Oh, the question is, why isn't it happening to you? You know how insulting that is? Amen. The Lord bless you to live to like 50 or 60. And then you get cancer. And then you say, why is this happening to me? Well, Lord, you got to step back. Step back on this one now. Now, here's the thing. If there was someone 50 or 60 with cancer right here, I would not be saying that. You still understand? Because I'm trying to be compassionate. You can mix truth with compassion. You still understand? Or if there's someone who had that attitude, I would not be saying that. I'm going to share this with you, though. How many, I'm 43 now, right? Do you know how many people in my high school class, every year when they all get together, we light more candles? You still what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of people that they would never, there was a whole lot of people that didn't make it to our graduation. Amen. There was 2 or 3 that didn't even make it to graduation because drunk driving and other things. And then, 5 years out, 10 years out, then the candles begin to grow. And a lot of those people who passed away, they didn't pass away because they necessarily did something. They passed away because someone crossed the yellow line. Someone else was drinking. Someone else wasn't paying attention to what they were doing. So my question to you is this. When I'm 50 or I'm 60 and I get me that diagnosis that says I have cancer or I'm about to die, then if I say, oh, Lord, why me? The question is, why wasn't it you back at age 20? Instead of looking at what has been taken away from you, you should be praising God because you didn't have to live to age 40. You didn't have to live to age 50. But we developed the wrong attitude. We come to God like he owes us something. That's why I always am so against the tithe. Because people feel like they can tithe and they feel like, well, I don't pay my dues, so you better bless me. I paid my tithe. I'll put you, and then God's like, dude, I gave you the job. Dude, I'm the one that made you smart enough to not get fired. You still what I'm saying? Job was righteous externally, he was righteous in his actions, but God knew what was in Job's heart. Job needed an attitude adjustment. Next slide.